of my impromptu lock in. Another thing I was thinking about as I'm driving is that, Yahweh Shai, we're all going to have our own wilderness moment where we're being tried by Satan, just like Yahweh Shai was, right? When you go into that story, he was fasting, right? And towards the end of his fast, that's when Yahweh Shai, or Slake, Satan, was trying him, was tempting him, man. So being followers of Yahweh Shai, and the scriptures say that we are not greater than the servant's not greater than the master. We have to know that Satan is going to try us too when we feel our weakest, because he's at the end of his fast, right? Satan's not always going to come at you, or them demons not going to come at you when you feel your best. Sometimes they will, sometimes they don't, right? But strategically speaking, it makes sense to come at you when we feel the weakest, okay? When you have the least amount of hope or whatnot, okay? When you're battling with the flesh. So, knowing that, we have to arm our minds with the reality of what we're involved in, is what I want to say. Because as the apostles and the elders are constantly coining, a lot of Israelites are coming into this ministry, receiving this truth, but without the proper mindset that it takes to endure, right? Without actually putting on Yahweh Shai mentally. You just like what he's wearing. You like his garment. You like the precepts. You like having wisdom. The scriptures say wisdom puff it up, right? You like being able to go into history. You like that you found something that makes you wise, basically. But listen, man, wisdom is destructive. Wisdom can be very destructive if you don't have the right mindset. All right, if you don't know that much, man, you should know the rest of the story. But so that's another thing we have to lock in about is, what's the mindset? Are we sober minded, like the scriptures say? Are we being sober minded? Are we really meditating on the reality of what we're involved in? Because everything's about to flip on its head. Everything's about to flip on its head, man. And every single one of us individually, man or woman, has to consider what we're involved in, right? To see if we have what it takes and what's sufficient enough. And honestly, at this point, you shouldn't even be questioning whether you have what it takes. As long as you've been called, you have to believe. There is no what if. Yahweh Shai never had a what if moment. Okay, and another thing to take away from that situation. Okay, and I'm just rolling in the spirit, man. I'm just rolling in the spirit, hence impromptu. Okay, but another thing to spiritually extrapolate from Yahweh Shai's situation is, how did he fend off Satan? He fended off Satan, the spiritual demon Satan, with the scriptures, because that's the sword. That's our spiritual sword. All right, so you can't be carnal minded. There's no way you can be carnal minded and expect to survive in this truth. It's impossible. So you have to be spiritual minded. You have to be able to wield your spiritual sword. So if you were faking the funk, you were never studying, never researching, never actually getting to know Yahweh Shai and developing a personal relationship with him, right? By going into the scriptures, studying, and like I said, then when it comes to that time when you're being tempted and tested, you're not going to know how to wield that sword, the spiritual sword, to fend off Satan. You see? You're going to be overtaken by his words. So he used the scriptures, and he used them wisely. He used them perfectly, of course. That's Yahweh Shai. So that's how we got to be. We got to stay in the scriptures. Stay in the scriptures, man. Stay in the scriptures. These spirits are out here. We have to stay in the scriptures, because that's what's going to guide us. Our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Isaiah 33:6. All right? So, I think that's it. That's all I was impressed to say. So, with that, Lord, that was edifying to the full elect. I'm saying shalom, above the ball, and I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone.